Call the meeting to order and ask if there's a disclosure of interest. As there is none, we have a resolution that's been moved and seconded to adopt the agenda with additional items, bylaws, a bylaw to appoint auditors for the corporation of the municipality of Oliver Papunj, and for information only, the 2024 annual report, Ministry of Rural Affairs Year in Review, 2024 achievements. Any further additions or changes? All in favor? Opposed? Carried. We have no deputations. We have a resolution adopting the minutes of the public meeting held on December the 10th. As presented, it's been moved and seconded. Any errors or omissions? As there is none, all in favor? Opposed? Carried. Any discussion on those minutes? Councillor Peacock?
Thank you. Just to confirm, that was the regular council meeting that
No,
night?
public meeting.
Okay, thank you. Yep.
Now we have a resolution moved and seconded to approve the minutes of the council meeting of December the 10th, 2024. As presented, were there any errors or omissions? It's been moved and seconded. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Any discussion on those minutes? Councillor Peacock?
Thank you. With regard to resolution 446, page 22, there was a report to come forward with regard to the assessment of secans. I'm presuming that it will be in the new year, but I think at that time, I inquired about the two hoop garages that are back on Road B, I think it is, or Road A. I'm not sure which one of those is back there. I'm just wondering if the Director of Operations had an opportunity to have a look at them to see whose property they were on.
The owners have been contacted by this chief building official.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay. And then we have the minutes of the council meeting for the 2025 operating and capital budget held on December 16th. The motion's been moved and seconded to approve as presented. Were there any errors or omissions? As I do not see any, oops, I'm sorry. Was there an error and omission?
With regard to the budget meeting? I'm sorry. One step ahead. Sorry.
Okay. All in favor as presented, opposed, carried. Any discussion on those minutes of the operating and capital budget? None. Okay. And now we have the special council meeting held on January the 6th for approval. There's motion made and seconded to approve the minutes as submitted. Was there any error or omission? All in favor? Opposed, carried. And was there any discussion on the minutes of the special council meeting? None? Okay. Reports of municipal officers. The first item is the bylaw enforcement report. We have a report from Larry Ayers, our enforcement officer for December on page 45. Was there any questions of the bylaw enforcement officer for this report? Councillor Peacock?
Thank you. I did ask at the last meeting, unfortunately, you weren't there at that meeting, but when a dog is at large, is the owner of that dog required at that time to purchase a dog tag if they have not already received one?
That's on me, because lots of times, I deal with the investigation in regards to dog being at large, and I don't talk to the person about the dog tag, but I'll make that part of my routine.
Have some in your pocket or something with you. Thank you.
Any other questions about the report? Is there anything the bylaw enforcement officer wanted to bring forward to us?
The parking complaint, King George Park Drive, there was one residence in there had a number of vehicles, received a number of complaints, to be able to get a hold of the registered owner of the vehicles, and they were moved off the street onto the property to allow people to go by, because King George Park is narrow where the townhouses are as it is, so when there's cars that are parked, okay, but who buses and stuff, so now it's moved and out on the road.
Okay, Good.
When the mail strike was on, I was the mailman for the municipality. And when I say all over, I mean all over. That's what it.
That's it? Okay, so nothing further that, from your report? Okay, thank you very much. Have a nice evening, nice week. We now have the building department report, page 46 to 62. This is for the year ending 2024. And it shows that the cost for the year is $17,822, the cost of construction. So, and the permit fees year to date was $58,949, but there is a refundable part of that, which is $29,605. So it was better than last year. No, less. Sorry, 5 million less. Still very good, very good. Yeah. Any other questions or thoughts? Okay. Then we have the single source procurement. We have a resolution that's been moved and seconded in respect to report number 2025 is recommending the use of the single sole sourcing with the vendors that are listed on that report. It has been moved and seconded, so it's open for discussion. Any discussion? Okay, it's been moved and seconded. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. We then have report 2025.06. It's an update of our asset disposals in 2024. It's on page 64. There is no resolution. This is just for your information. Is there anything you would discuss on that, or Councillor Peacock?
Thank you. With regard to the garage doors, were they not the fire department's garage doors?
Through the chair, the buildings of the fire department fall under the operational thing. And back in the day, there was no separate assets created for doors. It was a grant that was applied for outside of the budget. And the revenue required for ongoing operation of those buildings is tax supported. Therefore, it comes from a reserve transfer from administration. Therefore, because there was not a specific task, i.e. if we're swapping a fire truck, you can see in the budget for 2024, there's $10,000 surplus for fire trucks going back in based on disposal. Buildings are not included in those things. Therefore, it goes back to administration. As the report states, the journal entries will show the differences in the year-end transfers because they are spread between two budgets, where this was a 2023 project with revenue in 24. So variances in disposal line entries and surplus revenue coming in will be explained at the year-end report.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? All right, then we have a sign request from Hawkle Road. We had a petition on that earlier in 24. And we have a report now on 2025.07. It is for your information. Is there any discussion on this item, Councillor Calvert?
I'm kind of in disagreement with the stuff here of what's been put forward. I think these residents deserve more of a feedback for me. I think putting up a sign is not detrimental. Like, all I ask for is a sign. It's but none in Terrace Bay. Like, I don't see what, I know the insurance said, give a kind of a foggy response to it. And it says right in here, the guidelines do not establish legal enforcement. So I don't know where they're coming with. Like, I thought these people presented a very good case. Their concern was very real. So that's my take on it.
Through the chair,
Respond from you and
the
then.
chair, Wayne and myself in 2016, we were dealing with many requests for additional roadside signs that were not regulatory. We created a policy where it becomes an act of council to put the sign up. As I'm presenting here today is legally and administratively where we stand. If council so wishes to put a sign up, they can. But I cannot recommend that based on the policy that existed from 2016. It's an extraneous sign based on regulatory guidelines.
Counselor Viss?
Yes. There is if you go to page 71, I think that really puts it in perspective where we should be, where it says the use of non-standard signs is strongly discouraged as it may result in confusion and complacency. Also, there is no research that demonstrates that these types of signs slow down traffic. These signs can lead to unintended negative consequences of providing false sense of security to the parents and children. And the municipality is following the best practice thereby reducing potential liability related to the traffic signs, and then the very increased enforcement, work with local police, increased patrol of this area is probably the thing we should ask them to spend a bit more time on. If we get some information, what time of the day is, and maybe we could ask the police, I think that's the route to go. Based on the information that's provided to us.
I don't believe it's an excess speed issue that the police would.
Yeah, it's got nothing to, oh, sorry. Yeah. It's just that care and concern of the parent for their child. It's got nothing to do with excess speed, nothing. She just wants awareness. Like it's, the person can be driving the speed limit, doesn't matter. The person that her child escapes or something gets out. She just wants some kind of peace of mind, I guess is how I would describe it. She has to deal with this 24/7. And that's my take on it anyways. Thank you.
Yeah, so I spend a bunch of time thinking about this the past couple of days too. I agree with Councillor Calvert. I would be in support of in this case, certainly I think the policy was written for a reason that the administration is abiding by, and there's good reason for it. But in this case, I would be in support of having a sign put up.
Okay. Counselor?
Thank you. Is the speed limit 60 on that road?
Yep.
It is,
Yes, it
okay.
is.
All right, and we have other types of residents that perhaps could have a sign issued as well, like the group home and things like that. You know, I realize that's adults up there, but I don't think that there's a sign up there advising of, you know, the group home and things like that. And perhaps this will open up for others, and they may also want a sign, which is, if we deal with it on an individual basis, I'm just not sure how we would deal with that. But yes, her presentation was very good and an eye opener for a lot, and good for her.
And she's more than, or anybody is more than allowed to put a sign up on their own property facing the road or facing each direction. That there's an autistic child in the area. I'm not against the sign, but I am against the sign for the matter of, for the legal and insurance purposes. If you start with one, we're going to have signs all over for all different reasons. And I know we get to vote on each one, but we made a policy in 2016, this council, and said that that was not what they wanted. So I cannot vote for it. So,
It's a, yeah.
so there is no resolution on this. It's just for our information. Yes.
So through the chair, this was driven timeline to get back to the person. So we're
Mhm.
seeking direction.
Directions here from council.
Yeah. So this is, we're advising administration to issue a letter to the resident denying the request if that's what council wants. Yes.
What we have in the report says that following the policy, it first of all, it's the director of operations who will, following the guidelines of OTM or MTO, make a call. And he's made a call saying this sign is not allowed. So it's come to council. If council wants to do otherwise, they can say so. But if that doesn't happen, then the director of operations is going to write a letter to saying, sorry, we can't allow the sign for the reasons outlined in the report.
So we have no resolution either way, but I don't know how you determine that.
Council could make a resolution. Somebody could put something forward and let's have a vote if you wanted to have an exception here.
Mhm.
But if that doesn't happen, then Chris continues to follow the policy and just say the sign is not allowed.
I'd like to put a resolution on the floor pertaining to that.
Okay. Okay, so, yes, we have one. It's time to go get a cup of coffee. Mhm.
Have we had a traffic study done on that road at all?
I don't know.
The last traffic count, I believe, was completed in 2022.
What I've written here is that with respect to report 2025.07, administration shall advise the resident that their sign request has been granted, be approved.
Resolution's been moved and seconded that the sign be approved. All in favor? Opposed?
Defeated.
Okay, then we have the Roslin Drinking Water System Arsenic Treatment Plant update, page 75 to 76. It's just an update on the water system. Director of Operations is here. Yes.
So through the chair, this update is being shared with you guys first. We have to put a notice out to the residents of a power outage on January the 30th. The information pertained in this report will go out as a hand delivered to the residents this week. Once you guys see it first, it'll be going out in an envelope. Should you choose to add or anything, that message will get passed on to the residents.
Okay. Any questions, Councilor Gemkoff?
So, in reading through this report, so just currently, when the south well gets hooked up, it's not going to be able to go through the arsenic treatment. I'm assuming it will go through the arsenic treatment when it's running.
Yeah, through the chair, both wells will have the ability to go through arsenic treatment. We have two distinct trains, but currently we are providing water through the original treatment. So the south well came online first, chlorinated and inspected. We are now supplying the users with the south water direct into the old plant through the CCAN. And then today we chlorinated the north well. We're going to flush that tomorrow, take a sample, send it away. 3 days from now, we'll have the ability to cycle between either well, which we haven't had for a year and a half. The south well's been offline for a year and a half. And we were supplying out of the north well exclusively during that time. We've now switched wells. So both wells will run through the CCAN, and we are waiting the 30th for final electrical inspection and final pump installation and panel and transfer switch for power outage.
So if they all pass, if everything just slides along and moves along very nicely, when would you estimate that everything will be
So
going?
through the chair, we are currently going through the filter train with the south well, but we do not have filters in it. The
Okay.
plant hasn't been calibrated or talking, the signals have been manually override. They're not talking to each part yet. As the report says, we're keen on having by the 17th of February, having it completed and have some trials put to bed to know where we're at.
Okay. Any questions in regards to that report? Which is very nice. Thank everybody for their hard work. It's been a long, long journey to get this thing done. Hmm? Oh, I know it's not over, but I mean,
Through the chair, I said we're gonna be done in August too, so.
we hope that it comes out that way, and I'm sure the residents do as well. Okay, the next item is the Roslyn Village drinking water system, and there's some usage and proposed rate structures for discussion, page 77 to 85. So. Discussion on any of these. This is not a formal resolution to pass any of these methods. It's just for information.
So
Yes.
just a high level, again, this is for council information. We have over a year's worth of data from the water meters, so we wanted to present that to the individual, to council first of all, for what our consumption is and what our costs are. We've also added the background history in regards to what the city of Thunder Bay would charge for the same amount of water and what Bruno's would charge through Whitewater. We also provided what the capital influx of dollars from the municipality would be to maintain the system at its current level.
Mhm.
And that's the $85,000 subsidy that balances our costs. And it does point out the fact that if we get to 75 people with the rates as presented, we would be no $85,000 required. Okay. What this does not include is any capital expenditure, any asset management updates that you're going to get in the coming months in regards to this system. It also shows on page, so the first page is everybody's consumption for every resident, every bill collector. The second page is red and green for simplicity reasons. Red is the highest consumers, green is the lower consumers. The 22 people in the middle should not see an effect in their water bill based on the proposed methods. As with the previous report, these numbers are going to be shared with individual residents in the mail out, the same mail out based on public comment here tonight, if there's anything needs to be added. But we are going down this path at one point in time to get to water meter billings. The effort's been put in, we continue to do it, and there'll be further reports coming to this. This information needs to get out to the public, to the users, to see, they need to know where they're at before we have a discussion with them.
So basically you would start with everyone has a basic rate water bill, like starts with a certain basic rate, and after that it's according to your usage.
That's not the right assumption.
Okay.
The water access charge is a price per cubic meter. You have to pay that whether you use any water or not.
Okay.
It's a per cubic meter per household application for delivery.
Okay.
The delivery, based on what we've did the analysis of the city of Thunder Bay and Whitewater subdivision, we accepted a ratio which is presented on the red and green page. And the ratio of delivery cost based to consumption cost is the same. We've carried the same policies that other municipalities have gone through. And basically 70% of the water cost is covered on the delivery model. The remaining 30% is based on your consumption.
Usage.
Those that use more, pay more. Those that use less, pay less. But the delivery model of price per cubic meter has to be the same across the board.
Yes.
The $142,000 as far as our cost is the budget amount that's presented in the 2025 budget minus capital investment minus asset management replacement. That's where that 142,000 comes from. We produced 4,300 cubic meters approximately. Very simple math. The delivery cost is 142,000 divided by the 4,300 that we produced.
Any questions, Councillor Calvert?
Don't confuse us.
I'm sorry, Campoff, Councillor Campoff. I'm looking at Counselor Calvert, and I'm saying his name too.
So this chart on page 85, the red and green, it has for comparison purposes, it had the average daily bill at what, from my understanding, our current daily bill plus an inflationary number put in there for the past 6 years, which gets us to 171, just to make it a little bit more realistic, which is fine. So, what is our plan now? Are we, because we still don't have a resolution to change things, are we planning to make the change to one of these ideas, or were we open to other ideas, or?
So through the chair, this debate has gone on for quite some time over what the price per cubic meter is going to be.
Okay.
It's only fair to the users of the system that they get what they each use for a calendar year. So this covers a lawn watering season. It covers a season when I'm gone in Florida for 6 months. This data needs to go out with these sort of numbers saying, okay, we're coming to a resolution here at some point in time. Let's get some feedback, right? So 155 has been fixed for at least 4 years that I know of.
Yeah.
And the fixed price before that with additional billing, there was all sorts of different models of how this thing got paid.
Yeah.
With the advent of meter systems, then it becomes an individual choice as to how much you're going to use. And that needs, I believe, that's the model we should be going to. It's no different than the other municipality. So we presented the ratios, we presented the costs at other producers. This is step one of probably 4 before we get to a rate, in my opinion.
Yes,
So
Counselor Campa?
just as my thoughts, I'll just give you my thoughts on looking at this. I would like to see us work towards less subsidy. I certainly think it would be pretty extreme to go to 0 subsidy at this point in time or in the near future, because that's a big jump. And there might be other funding streams we can still look for. There might be some way to mitigate that huge change. But if we're going to come up with a proposal, I'd like to see perhaps something that's midway between the current rate, ending up needing the municipality to kick in an $85,000 subsidy, and and the 0 subsidy number. That's what I would lean towards being in support of. It'd be something midway between those two. I think that's a reasonable thing to shoot for at this in the near future. But I think keeping it where it's at right now, we have to change something. We can't leave it where it is. That's my thoughts.
Yes, through the chair, there was a group of us working on these numbers, and the only caveat we could say is that we tried to trend the ratios as presented to other municipalities. In the back of our minds, we were all aware of the flavor of Rosin Water being on a fixed cost at that price. You know, we were aware of that. When we factored in inflation, it came beyond what we presented. Right, we had $100,000 subsidy in that comment, and that's to get back to where they're at now.
Right.
Through the chair, we can throw this out to the people as far as the handout, and you're going to get feedback. You're going to get feedback, and we can take that under advisement. We'll present it back to you when we get the feedback. But to chart in a half subsidy to Counselor Campoff's concern, if we targeted a $40,000 subsidy, that's going to land us somewhere around the $225 a month for the average user. So just that's where that number would take. We've had it on the screen. I think we had a $50,000 subsidy, and that's where we had it landing, $225. Now, as you can see, there's 6 that are over consumption, and there's 6 that are under. This scenario was presented, the 22 out of 32 or 20 out of 32 will not see a dramatic increase in their rates by switching to a cubic meter price. So we were looking for that kind of balance, but it's fair to say we need to get these numbers, the daily consumption.
Mhm.
So we've had it for a calendar year. We need to get that out to the users before we have a discussion as to what the rate's going to be.
Right.
Because the top 6 need to change how they're doing things if they want to save money.
Yes,
Not to discount the work that was done on this report. One of the things that we should be cognizant of, the way that it's typically done in these situations is that there are fixed costs and variable costs in a system like this. The fixed costs are covered by the monthly flat fee. And then the variable costs associated with actual consuming and delivery of water are then covered by the fee that's charged to the homeowner based on their usage. So I think that a system like that is not illustrated in these alternatives. So I think further study probably should be done before we send it out. Also need to keep in mind that with the Roslyn, or sorry, with Whitewater, perhaps coming on board at some point, we would need to have a system that is in place that would be applicable in that situation. So,
Counselor Peacock?
Thanks for your input, gentlemen. I note that the Whitewater bill's there for 3 months. So I'm just wondering, would we consider going to a 3-month billing system or?
Through the chair, we are a long way from deciding when bills are going to be going out, but yes, the on paper quarterly billing looks right. That's been at Whitewater since 2003. I don't see being, if we inherit that system, I don't see changing to something different for 32 people instead of 139. So I think that would be the billing cycle at this time.
And as far as the subsidy, please, gentlemen, ladies, can we use the OMPF funding to subsidize any of this water system? Because it's not the Roslyn people on the system. It's not their problem. It's a whole municipal problem. And that funding was just given to the municipality. If we're going to get $634,000 in 2025 for OMPF funding, I'm sure that a portion, if not half of it or something, should go towards the water system, whether it be for the subsidy to offset some of the expenses, put it into capital, because as was mentioned, we're going to need some repairs and things like that along the line, and maintenance costs. And I realize it may just be a shell game. Right now, OMPF funding has been for a number of years just gone directly into the Public Works Department, but they also get other funding as well for that department through the province. So that's my thoughts on that. And I'm not sure how I can make it any more clear. Thank you.
I think you mean OCIF funding?
I'm
Oh,
sorry.
Yeah, well,
Oh,
that's fine. I know OCIF can only be for the asset work. So, but you mentioned OMPF, and that's a novel idea, the OMPF, because it is a general grant for anything. It could be used for operations. But then, like you say, it's all one pot, eh? So our OMPF for operating, our taxes for operating, it's all the same thing. But the OCIF, the only use of that, and that is, 634 coming up, or 624. That's for a capital project.
Counselor Viss?
Bottom line, it's pretty bad, money for water. But then I keep thinking back and coming back, and on my mind, I said, but wait a minute, it's really wasn't caused by these 32 people. That's where I have that big problem. Walkerton, first of all, created the largest thing, and then the problem decided to crank down the arsenic, that created the second product. So do we ask 32 people because of some different situation out of their control, pay for it? And I really struggle with that. And much as I hate supporting, because I keep saying, I supply my water and I pay for it, but this wasn't because of their own doing. And so I didn't, to what extent we support it, but I think we need to support it till we get more people online. I just can't see how we can do it any other way.
I agree. Counselor.
To follow up Councillor Viss's point, it has been at this table for quite some time. There's bylaws that exist that says it's a user pay system. The
Mhm.
whole mantra around that, which means we'd have to cancel, rescind those bylaws and move forward.
Yeah.
So it can be a municipal asset. To Wayne's point, it's the same pot.
It is the same pot.
It's the same pot.
It's the actually seeing the numbers there, the 85,000, if that's gone, because it's grant money, it's funded by the OCIF or whatever, then yes, then it's going to be a different thing that we're
All,
looking
all
at.
encompassing, if the Whitewater passes on to the municipality, we've created a whole other department that is a big animal.
That's right.
And it's beyond the $85,000 subsidy. It's a revenue stream, but it also has costs involved with it.
Yes.
So
Again, with the Whitewater system, that also is an asset to us, the building and the water, whatever's in the ground. If it goes, it has to be replaced by us. Councillor Peacock?
Thank you. One other question, was on page 79, in bright yellow, it says 75 users is well within the plant's operating capacity and shows expansion and development in the surrounding area of the Rosin Village water system. Theoretically could make 100% user pay. Now, if that development happens, do we have it in a development agreement that there will be no expenses incurred by the municipality for that system to be developed and the people to be hooked up?
through the chair, that's part of a subdivision agreement. The piping exists to places that will allow a 40-unit proposal, if that's what a developer comes to the table to do. As with any other developer agreement, those costs associated with distribution and supply to each house are borne by the developer.
Thank you.
So
Calvert?
getting back to the chart here, this capital reserve is that 0.50, so that'll be metered too. That would be, you would be paying so much towards a reserve fund, I'm assuming, so there'd be money put away.
Yeah, through the chair, those numbers are, again, we're just a guide to get to the 155 plus inflationary to get to the 171 is where it landed. The reserve was talked about. We needed a small reserve just for some little hiccups throughout the year. But again, that rate that's proposed there does not include $33,000 a year for asset management for replacement value. That's what you're going to see in July 1st or prior to July 1st. There's 33,000 there. There's no annual capital requirement. This is a proposal of a 142 cost based on where we're at today with our service provider, based on the fact that everything's new.
Yes.
Everything's new. We got new pipes, new curb stops, stuff like that. We still don't know what our operating costs will be for the arsenic treatment. We don't know if we're changing filters daily or monthly. We got to get through that, which is going to change this number. The key to this report was to get the data for a calendar year out to the individual users to start thinking about it.
That's right. Okay.
I don't, and my follow-up would be like, it's good to see we're putting some money away into a reserve for capital. You know, maybe down the road, we'll get more funding for water. So at least we'll have a partial.
Absolutely. This is the 8th budget I've done for Rosin Water, and I remember back my first one had a $5,000 reserve transfer in it in 2016. $5,000. That year we blew the budget by $38,000. The reserve didn't go in. So this is something that has to be on a per usage basis so that we can accrue some money. As the users go up, if we start generating 7,000 cubic meters, if it's a per meter price, we generate more reserve. If you're moving more water, you have more maintenance. So the budget is fluid right now. I hate to say that word, it's fluid. But we have to provide the residents with the information, what a year looks like to them.
That's right.
Okay.
Councillor Peacock?
Thank you. Do we have any idea at the present time how much it would cost should someone else within the system as it exists now, or the route that the system is on, would like to hook up? Do we have any idea as to what it would cost them? I know we've had a number of inquiries, but
Through the chair, we've had a number of inquiries and have got nothing since. So there is no specific task, no specific fee attached to a connection. It has to be done by a licensed plumber and it has to be authorized by me before it happens.
So and they're responsible from the house to the line and
Each-
anything inside the house.
Each lot that the pipe passes currently has a curb stop at their property line. The costs associated with the connection are borne by the individual.
Right.
And also we have to provide a Form 1B to the MOE the minute we add one person. So there's a delay there. It's not something I can go out tomorrow and add 10 people.
No.
There's 10 additional curb stops available. that are on the system currently that are shut off.
And do we anticipate any further costs pertaining to the expansion at the present time?
Through the chair, we're not done yet.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, so we have the St. James Anglican Church Cemetery Financial Support Request. The resolution has been moved and seconded for the money that we give them every year. I believe it's $500 yearly to help pay for keeping that cemetery clean. Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Then we have on page 88 to 97, a council term plan, the projects and processes update. And it's just to go through the term plan, and the CAO will get us through this.
All right, so we put this term plan together back at the end of 2023. It's included in the report. There were a few projects identified that we were going to be working on. On the bottom of page 88, there's the project about dealing with risk management. And what we did this year was we had the policy bylaw 55 on agreements, insurance indemnification, which we have rolled out, where we make agreements with parties if they want to use municipal property, and they got to indemnify us and also provide insurance. And later this evening, we'll see an example of that with the Roslyn Winter Carnival. We've also introduced that to our contracts with the ice rentals and the hall rentals. On page 89 at the top of the page, there's the project about the record retention bylaw. This summer we had a student working on a record management program. Council got that report in September 25th about what we had done. And in 2025, we're looking at getting another student to continue along with that. Project number 2 about improving public access. We didn't have any developments in that. The Director of Operations, he was looking at the new drinking water license for the Roslyn Village drinking water system, arsenic treatment plant. We just heard about all of that. We have got our license together. Now we're trying to get the plant to run. Number 2, the asset management plan, July 1 requirements. We've got a work plan underway to get that done. We have a lot of things ahead, and you'll be hearing more about that. The new landfill card system, that's been on the council agenda a few times this season, or this year, and I should say last year, and now this year it's on again. Tonight we have the waste management bylaw with the updates on to get the system established. The plan is we're going to be doing the pilot in February and March, and then start live in April. And I think there's a report this evening about it as well. And we have some sample landfill punch cards that we'll be showing. Chris could do that now, and well, everyone's thinking about it. The fire chief, he's been working on the firing enabling bylaw. It's the top of page 90. And we're going to be looking to schedule a special council meeting to look at that. That was done with the LRMC fire chiefs. The certification program, we're still working our way through that. And once the enabling bylaw is done, we can set up training programs to correspond with the levels of service in the enabling bylaw. The manager of planning did 4 housekeeping amendments this year. That was the plan there, and the plan is to bring it on forward next year, or I should say in 2025 for the storage definition for the zoning bylaw and the official plan review. The second project there at the bottom of 90, about the Pine View Road, it's not really being, we're not working on that at this point. It's maybe something that, given the other development things that are going on, we may not be getting at that at all in the near future, maybe not even in this year. Number 3, Presentation of planning files. We did get the Committee of Adjustment meeting minutes and agendas and everything onto the website, so it's going to happen there. The treasurer, deputy CAO, that's a lot of different moving parts in that. We got the new chart of accounts. It was in the featured in the draft budgets. We're going from the 4 to 9 digits, so it's quite a change. And we need to do our Unisoft, that's our accounting company, have to upgrade our system so we can put the chart of accounts in. And once that's working well, then we'll need to get the Questica financial reporting system integrated with it, which will make it a lot easier to get information and even let council search through it, read only. Project number 2 about the one investment options. We did get into a workshop and learned about some things about how we can get more involved, and we'll be working further on that project this year.
Any questions on any of the topics or comments, Councillor Viss?
I just have two. First of all, on the new landfill card system, and I have nothing wrong with the card system. The only thing is, how are the employees going to punch the card? Right now, he opened the window this far. Do we going to have a tool for him like that, so he can, and then he can punch it? Okay, because I said that ain't never going to work because that cold weather, he ain't never going to stick his head out that far, so.
Remember the old days when the paper boys come to your door?
Yeah.
And you said, you paid and flipped it out?
Well, he has to
Yeah,
have a
that's
little
all right.
longer night, and you got that, I'm sure, figured out.
Yeah, so we set some examples around the table. So where it's the green tree in between Oliver and Papoonge, like on our company truck logos, you see that?
Mhm.
It's gonna be embossed in green, which is the glowy stuff like this gold is. Then they get laminated. So this is a security feature that gets added to these, and then it's a simple punch per visit. Each card spells out what you're entitled to and how many punches. And training is gonna start, now that we have these, so we're gonna send it away to get the embossing done. We'll have these back next week. Staff's coming in to review, what these exactly are and who gets what. And there's pictures of what a truck and trailer looks like going up on signs at the landfill site. The key to this is to trial February, March, work through the issues. And the bylaw will be reestablished, should any issues pop up in February, March. As they pop up, we'll deal with them on individual basis. And we'll go from there. But you're absolutely correct. There's going to be a chain to the wall with the thing and give me your card. If you don't have a card as of April 1st, get out.
You're gonna have a policeman there.
Yep, that's not
No,
gonna
but
be.
you know what I'm saying, you have to have something,
Oh,
because there's no way, I mean,
I was thinking that.
Yeah.
My only, is there gonna be any notice to put at the?
So we got our first call today about the landfill card system because it was in the Oliver Papoonge Press.
yes.
And it was positive. It was positive.
Okay. And the second one, if I may, okay, just to finish it up,
Mhm.
on the open Pinewood Road allowance, I've had objection from day one, the way it's spelled out there. I don't have a problem having it in there, but it should be developed by a private individual. Because if you take the end of Bolter, the end of Nicollet, the end of John Street, if we ever, as a municipality, open Pinewood on our ticket, guess how many people are gonna be standing on the door and say, hey, open my road also? And why would we not open John Street when we own property closer to the river? The value of that would shoot right up. So I would like to see that just added to it, as long as it's developed by a private company.
So through the chair to that point, this was put on this because at the point in time we were talking about this for many years, there was a developer in play.
Right.
This is not there was talk about doing it and it was deemed a light industrial parcel. We actually went and cleared trees, if I remember correctly.
Right.
And it was ongoing discussions at that time. At one point in time, the brickyard was on the pending list. That's been stroked. Whether we're at that point or not right now, I don't know in regards to this road being developed. That's why nothing's been done on it.
And like I said, don't get me wrong, I've nothing wrong with developing the road, as long as it's not on our tax dollar bills that we develop the road for an individual that's gonna stand to make millions of dollars, that's all.
Yeah, this item's on the plan, but, administration doesn't have any authority to spend any money on this. It would have to come here for approval.
Thank you. I'm done.
Anything else? Councillor Peacock?
Thank you. I know with the landfill card for agriculture, just one card per year. for agricultural lands, okay? Couple of other things. The planning department has definitely had their work cut out for them. I think I totaled 13 zoning amendments and 6 official plan amendments throughout the year, so that's a busy department for 2024, so whether they've all been approved or not, it doesn't matter. They still take time to complete. From what I've read, the Ontario Building Code has changed and there's a 3-month grace period to the end of March. Correct me if I'm wrong, Carrie, is that, or are you aware of that? Or perhaps it's Paul. Grace, as far as compliance to the new building code requirements?
Yeah, it's until March.
Until March, yeah. So is there anything that we can let our residents know any of the changes, or a link to a website to indicate the changes? Because there are a number of requirements, I think, that have changed for building code.
I would imagine that they'll be told what those changes are when they come in with to request a building permit.
Okay.
You know, when they come in, that'd be up to administration to.
And throughout the last discussion, I think with regard to a zoning amendment, mention was made that we needed to have a definition added to our zoning bylaw pertaining to barn dominium. I don't know. No, we're not.
No, a barn dominium is just a single family dwelling. It's just large.
Okay. All right. So we don't need that. Okay.
Okay,
Yep.
and I'd ask you to return those
I was gonna
to,
say, can I have my free cards back, please?
return those cards, otherwise you'll be accused of having.
No, the agricultural one's no good.
It's not laminated, so it won't work. Okay, yes, Council.
When we send out the cards, it's gonna cost about $80 just to send them to Councillor Best. So it would be cheaper to just give them these ones.
Councillor Campoff?
Okay, so we're reviewing our term plan. What is our process? Remind me, to get something added to the term plan, or should that just be brought up at any time, or are we trying to do that in a more organized fashion?
Well, we are looking at the pending list
Oh, there it is.
after, but
Plan rules.
Well, there's, on page, 2, or I should say, page 93 of 263.
yes.
There's a discussion about, the plan rules. Due to council approval, we propose projects and processes, we monitor reports, any changes to council term plan. So,
Approve it.
yeah, well, the council can also, suggest, I mean, it may not say that in there, but if you
I
want
did say
something
somewhere in there.
here,
Yeah.
or the pending list, if there's something we need to, work on, that's outside of what our normal tasks are.
Okay, I have a suggestion that just, it was reminded of it when we had our special meeting last week, because I was here, so I went and got my dog tags. I had a discussion with Laura giving me my dog tags, and she mentioned that I guess we give out around 70 dog tags a year. So it seems, I mean, all of us, I'm guessing, would have some thought that there might be more than 70 dogs in Oliver Papoonch, especially since I have 2 of them. So I think it should be reviewed at some point. It's obviously not a critical crisis thing that needs to be done anytime real soon, but it should be looked at again, the whole process and system of it.
I think, that term or that project would be something like, a blitz, on dog tag compliance. That sounds more like a pending list kind of job to me. There's not a lot of thought to it. So this evening, we got an idea about adding things to the pending list, a resolution where we could do that, and we can pencil that one in, dog tag rule compliance. I'm not sure. I think it's a bylaw for the dog tags, where that's stated. But dog tag compliance. That'll do it.
We can add, that's the next topic, which we're coming to now,
Okay.
which is the pending list. No, that's fine. And we've got a resolution recommending the deletion of the info signs bylaw and the cemetery bylaw on administrative practices. We can now add
One's for ads.
Is there one for adding?
There's one. Right here.
Oh, okay, all right, I see it's on a different page. I have it on two different pages. Okay, so first there's a resolution that we recommend the deletion of the information sign bylaws in the cemetery bylaw and administrative practices. That resolution has been moved and seconded. Any further discussion on that one? All in favor? Opposed? Carried. And then we have a second resolution that's been moved and seconded, that in respect to Report 2025, we recommend the addition of the following items to the pending list. One is the election signs bylaw, and we now have, as for what you're putting on there.
Dog tag compliance.
Okay. Yes,
I would, I get that's maybe the easiest thing to do, but I wonder, maybe there's something wrong with our dog tag system if we're not getting, I mean, we have very abysmal compliance with it, so is there a better system? Do we need a dog tag system? I mean, right now, for all intents and purposes, we don't really have a dog tag system. If it wouldn't even be close to 10% of the dogs have tags. So we don't really have a workable system right now. Do we even need one? So
Well, I
that
found-
maybe needs to be investigated.
I found with a large dog, which we've had in the past, you put the tag on it and within a week it's ripped off somehow or other. And with the small dogs that are inside my house, I'm gonna get in trouble now with the residents, but I never came here for a dog tag for dogs that never leave my house or my deck, so. But they're not there anymore, so don't come and put me in jail. They're all gone.
This item titled, dog tag compliance. Within that, I think we can look at it and say, maybe we need to do something different.
Do we need it? Do we not need it? Because we also have, or do we not have a special license for people that house dogs and kennels? I don't know how many we give out, but I think there's more kennels than licenses that we give out.
And a lot of them have this chip now in them, and all these animals, like,
Mhm.
it's really.
So, okay, that's been added as an addition that will be added to the pending list. Anything further? Okay, the motion's been moved in resolution has been moved and seconded. All in favor? Opposed, carried. Then we have Bill 241, the Municipal Accountability Act, page 104 to 113. And this is prepared by our CAO as to informing us what the Bill 241 is.
I don't want to go over all of this. There's quite a bit of detail in it, but what it's about is AMO and some other parties have been asking the provincial government to do something about councillors who are alleged to be acting badly or confirmed to be have done something out of bounds. And they're like, the idea of having more stiffer penalties, including removal from your office. So the government brought out a bill 241 about this. They're looking for commentary on it. The AMO people said, gee, this is really good to have it come out. The AMCTO people were saying something about may lead to an inconsistent application out the province, and to remove a council member requires unanimous consent of council, where that may be problematic. So the Ministry of Municipal Affairs said they'd be providing some sessions about this at the Roma conference, so we might be able to take some of that in. And then when we get back, you're supposed to comment on this thing, not too long, the notice for comment, the deadline, February 10th. So at the next meeting, we may decide that we want to comment on it, or maybe we'll just let somebody else, take care of how this goes. But that's the sum of it.
Any thoughts from any of the councillors? Councillor Viss.
Well, there's just one thing I picked up on, and it says here, create a role for Integrity Commissioner of Ontario in the Municipal Code of Conduct, Integrity Commissioner matters, including providing training to municipal integrity commissioners. We don't have any? That's the key. If there's enough qualified commissioners, I don't have a problem with code of conduct. But if you don't have any, well, where are you gonna go? Where are you gonna take?
We have a,
We have one.
yeah,
I've not had to use them, thank goodness, but anyway.
Yeah, the current regime, how it works now is every municipality has to appoint an integrity commissioner. And the one that we have, we don't have to pay a fee for having them, like a retainer fee. Well, if we have an investigation, we have to pay. But it's kind of interesting that you mentioned that. It makes me think about something that as soon as the provincial government says we're gonna have some kind of training programs, and so forth, maybe they'll be expecting municipalities to be paying for the training and in some kind of new system, eh? So that might be probably likely what's gonna happen if they go there.
Well, I guess that was my point. You see, if you gotta train people, they all better be the same. Otherwise, like how this isn't gonna work at all. And this is coming from the province, this indication that they need training. And I thought, well, how do we handle that?
my concern with this is, first of all, every person that's sitting at this table was elected by the people of this township, of this municipality to be sitting here. And for, whatever process they're gonna have, they're gonna say, Counselor Viss, you've been a bad boy, you're doing this wrong, you did that wrong, you did whatever, out. Where do we have the authority to do that? Because you were elected by the people, so unless it's a criminal matter, which can be proven somehow or other, I cannot see how we have the right to tell a person they can't sit on council anymore. If it's a criminal matter, then it goes with the police and the court system. And then they could say you can't sit on council anymore because whatever you've done is, I mean, someone could do something and the integrity commissioner could come back and say, well, you shouldn't have done that. And we suggest you don't do it again. Well, okay, that comes from the integrity commissioner. That's fine. They investigate as if they're, a police system when it comes to our code of conduct. But I have a little bit of worry about people saying, well, getting together for coffee and saying, I really don't like that guy, Alan. So let's figure out a way to get rid of him. I don't really like that. Yes.
That's exactly what is proposed here.
Yeah.
If you look on page 108, it's about the middle of the page. Sure, you'd have to have somebody removed, there'd have to be the integrity commissioner on board, and then there's an integrity commissioner of Ontario that will also have to be part of this decision. And then about midway, all members of the municipal council would be required to vote in favor of removing someone. So, but that's what they're saying, that should be there. And right now, the integrity commissioner cannot remove anyone, but the judge can if you've got a conflict of interest and the integrity commissioner takes it there and the judge can say it's in the Conflict of Interest Act that you're removed.
Can be removed, yes. But that's why I say it's not, I just am very, very uncomfortable saying that it's council that can rid themselves of one counselor. It's just, I can't, yes.
I note on page 109, second paragraph, the changes will come into force November of 2026. So that's the next council term.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So,
But it's just, it doesn't matter to me which council term it is. I just don't feel that
Mhm.
people voted the people that are sitting here in. So for us to say, go out there and to the bar tonight and talk about one other counselor and how we don't like how they're always voting this way or that way, or what they call each other, or that they're talking behind your back, or whatever the thing may be, which is silly. And then to have a vote here and, 4 of the people put up their hands because they don't like Counselor Viss. I'm picking on Counselor Viss today.
Only one put up his hand.
That's all right. I'm getting close to the end anyway. It can't hurt me a whole lot.
He's looking at me, that's why I keep saying his name.
But the four counselors, say you got the 5 counselors, 4 counselors can't gang up on somebody if they haven't done something outside of the rule of
I
conduct,
know.
right? So if you're the black sheep on the council, and you're always voting against what the other guys want and everything, so what?
Okay.
That's okay.
Yeah.
But if you're, harassing, staff, or you've had, been charged with embezzlement someplace or whatever it is, and there's something that you've done that's really bad, and the integrity commissioner gets a hold of it, and the Ontario and your own, and says, this guy should go, you got to get the whole council,
Yes.
all of them,
To
to
agree.
agree with that, and then you're gone.
Yeah.
But you know, say, well,
It's like a criminal.
this guy
matter.
voted for a tax increase and I didn't like it, so let's try to get rid of him.
Yeah.
You know, I can't do that.
So, okay. All righty, the next one is the Roslyn Winter Carnival Agreement, page 114 to 119. It's to give some direction to the administration. It does not have a resolution with it. Is there anything, Councillor Viss?
Yeah, just about thing, and I guess that's been brought up a number of times, and Mr. Bernick said he's willing to provide financial information, so I think if that's all we've been after, we're happy with what we're doing so far. It's been successful, it's something in the community, we'll continue on as long as the only question is sometimes about financial, you're willing to do it, so I have no problem.
I don't have a disagreement with him being willing to do it. I don't think we should be asking for it. It's their organization. I've been talking with him. He had asked for some little bit of information in regards to bookkeeping or whatever. And they've made an association now with 5 members at the table. They've got a president, a secretary, treasurer, and they're going to be running it a little more officially. But they've spent all the profit they bought something or did something at Roslyn Hall, and we give them the hall for free, but we give other people the hall for free too.
Yeah, I think it goes in line with like the MMAA or any organization
right.
like that. We don't ask them for their financials or anything, so. You know, I think that's more of an internal organizational thing that they
That's
can deal
right.
with.
It's their organization, and if they're doing something wrong, it'll come out there. We're just giving them the hall for nothing. And they're a valid organization. Yes.
Yeah, on page 115, it says that the Recreation Association agrees to abide to the rules of the special occasion permit. Do they have sufficient time to do that? I think there's timelines for associated to the special occasion permit, which we approved. Am I wrong?
Well, there's what do we call it again? Special event bylaw, but that's not what this is about. This is for alcohol. It's called a special occasion permit. Now, if these folks are gonna have 1,000 people there, then we gotta get a special event
Yeah,
going.
that-
At any one time. Yeah, but
And they have insurance. He says they've always had insurance.
well, they're gonna have to provide it. See, I'm just saying, at the top of page 115, there's a kind of like a bullet summary, and maybe you had an opportunity to sort of look at that a bit. Where every year they ask about it, council will not be unreasonable. You'll say, okay, they may ask, I would like some help, how about you grade the place and everything? That's up to council.
Mhm.
For that. They've got to, since they've talked about alcohol, they need to abide by the rules of that. They've got to have the insurance, proof of insurance. They got to indemnify us. It's a 10-year agreement. We can it with 6 months' notice, so they can just walk out tomorrow. So that's what it is. And it sort of sets up a framework to deal with these things. And then annually, there's a little decision, about it. And
Mhm.
I just like to ask the director of operations how it's gone with them.
So through the chair, I have no issues with this group. They're very respectful of the property. They put a good program together. They're reverting back to the initial one where Friday night's curling, Saturday night's a party now. They weren't able to do curling last year because
They didn't have any ice.
we worked with them quite a bit, and
Yeah.
they're the board of directors. They're 5 great
Yes, they're very
individuals,
dedicated to
and,
their area and to
this
their
is gonna
hall.
thrive, and I've never had an issue with them so far.
No, I mean, we had
Yeah.
the Quebec Street Fair for how many years, and nobody ever gave us any financial information from that either, although it was mostly the businesses themselves that made money during that few days. Yes,
Just wanted to thanks to the administration for working with them, and I just want to encourage administration to keep doing that, and anything that council can do to make it easier. Like it's great that this organization exists and they're doing great things, and that's, I know there's been talk amongst residents in the past that, oh, why isn't there this happening or that happening? Well, this is what that
That's what
has to
happens.
happen, right?
They
It needs to
do
be
it
it's
themselves.
not our role to be running a carnival as a municipality. So this is great.
Well, in years past, they used to have a Slate River Recreation Association, a Roslyn, Association, Recreation Association. They're just kind of changing their names, but it's up to their area people to do the work. We don't have to do that.
Yeah, through the chair, just, this would come as a one pager looking for municipal significance event. That's how these things always came before. The advent of the indemnification and the insurance and the policy rentals that we've all been working on for the last 2 years. This is the fruition of formalizing this agreement.
That's right.
It's about, yes, we recognize this thing, but by the way, you got to protect us.
Yeah.
That's what it's about.
That's
And
right.
you're going to see more of these. The
Yes.
policy exists now. You're going to see more of them.
Councillor Peacock?
Would it be too much to ask if we could have a follow-up report from this recreation association to just the good, the bad and the ugly as far as how it went for the weekend?
I don't know why we would. We don't ask anyone else.
Okay.
You know, I'm sure if they've had any concerns, they'll have talked to Director of Operations or
what they
they call me.
Or what they propose to use the funds for, should they make a profit?
Well, they always, whatever monies they've had that have been a profit, they together have decided what, and with the Director of Operations, decided what they would spend the money on. So,
Kind of says it in here on page 116, what they've done, eh?
yes, they have. They've put it back into the system again. So, yes.
Through the chair, I sent the wrong snow blower to Roslyn and I heard about it in less than an hour.
Yeah, because you brought them all in, right? So they know what's there. Okay. Then we have a resolution moved and seconded, the revision bylaw for council pay municipal travel expenses. Oh, I'm sorry.
Excuse me, with regard to the bylaw that we have for the Roslyn Winter Carnival, on page 118, number 4, it says the Legion shall provide
Yeah.
proof of insurance no later than 2 weeks before the Roslyn Winter Carnival.
Oh, that must be for the other agreement we have with the Legion.
That's because there's one coming up for them too,
Okay.
similar to this.
Similar. to-
But
Alright.
this is not being passed this evening.
No.
So we wanted to have council take a look at. It's the first time you've seen something like this and get your
Mhm.
feedback on the framework, et cetera.
Okay. And again, they're not required to provide us with any financial documents. Okay, thank you, Councillor Peacock. We have a resolution moved and seconded in regards to the revision bylaw from council pay and municipal travel expenses. It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Carried. We have a resolution in regards to the external auditor appointment for 2024. It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Councillor Viss.
Yes, on the background, a bid of 134,706 was the bid, and when I take a look at the total, the bid is 34,771.
Yes, Councillor.
Yeah, that $134,000 number was for 5 years. Yeah, back then, yeah. They didn't get marvelously cheap since then. It's,
Oh, I see, yes, a 5-year period.
5-year
Thank
period.
you, I didn't read that
Yeah.
right. Okay, thank you.
Any further discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Carried. And then we have a report on page 123 to 148 for 144 Berry Drive. We have a resolution moved and seconded to enter into a lease agreement to rent that location, those buildings. Any discussion? Councillor Peacock?
Does the rent include tax or is that over and above?
there's no property tax on that property right now.
I mean, like HST or anything like that? No.
HST, they gotta pay HST.
Okay, because it just says the monthly rent, but it didn't indicate
Yeah, HST, you have to pay.
HST. Okay,
Just anything else?
and with regard to the bylaw itself, or the lease, I guess is what it is. Perhaps it's just a standard type lease that we've used, but it makes mention of, on page 127, of separate school taxes. Just not sure why that's paragraph 3.1.
Right.
And what happens with the landfill site usage for that rental property? As far as a landfill tag or a card system? Will they have provisions to use the landfills? Because it says,
They'd go through the gate system the same as everyone else.
Yeah, through the chair, as to Councillor Peacock's point, they aren't technically a taxpayer. We're still the landowner, so they will get a one-off commercial card for the calendar year or the term of their lease arrangement.
And then you had mentioned something other than that before? No,
it said something about separate school tax or something in that one paragraph. 3.1. So I wasn't sure what that pertained to.
I think that's maybe needs to get adjusted because the school taxes, if they're running there, I don't know what system they go under. So it could be a public assessment or the separate. So we're better off stroking separate in there.
Because it would be it's our property.
Well, no, I mean, John can explain that as well. There's different, the properties get assessed and so forth, and you know, whether they pay public or separate.
In this case, the property would have no selection.
No.
So what happens is the funds are then at the are prorated based on the enrollment of the 4 different boards that we have.
And then,
So then we should just stroke separate and just say school, and that takes care of it. So that's what we'll do. We'll stroke school out of
Separate.
or
Out of
separate
there.
out of the,
or just stroke separate out. It's in there in a few places.
and so then they're responsible for the utilities? Or are we
Yeah.
still? Yes,
They are.
okay. And what about the water? If the well runs out, is it our responsibility as a landlord to ensure that they have water?
I think the water has ever run out there that I know of, but
Through the chair, the previous tenant did not have any issues with the
No,
water supply
not
there.
ever.
Okay,
And unless the agreement speaks specifically to us being obligated to provide water, if you're
We don't have
obligated
to.
to provide water.
now when,
The same goes for the garbage. as well.
when we, sorry, are we as far as page 144 or not? That's Schedule A,
Yes.
okay, the landlord reserves the right to restrict the use of the building after 6 PM, do we? Can they not use the building after 6?
Because we have the right does not necessarily mean we would do it.
No, we have the right.
Okay. And like, as far as putting the number 4, public directory board, that's kind of irrelevant. There isn't a tenant listing that says who's in that building or whatever.
Says if the landlord provides and
Yes.
installs the board,
Yeah.
then it would do something, but we
Right.
don't.
Okay. And on page 145, it says that they can't have explosives or inflammable substances. If they have drilling, do they have explosives in there or access to? Just not sure.
It's not a drill bass company, it's directional drilling. So it's a
Okay.
track mounted drill.
Okay, so it's not blasting drilling.
No, and if you have any kind of blasting products that you use, you have to go according to their safety code or whatever it is. You wouldn't be
Okay.
allowed to put that into a public building.
All right.
Okay,
And I think that's what I got out of that. So anyways,
thank you. So we have a resolution moved and seconded to recommend that the lease between Tanner
amended.
Contracting
As amended.
as amended. Yes, I have not finished reading.
Okay.
be approved as amended. And the necessary bylaw be amended bylaw be presented for ratification. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. The next item we have is the special meeting for the draft fire department enabling bylaw. We've got 2 dates to choose from. Monday, January the 27th, or Tuesday, January the 28th are the first choices if neither one of them works out.
Monday is my preference.
Okay, it's fine with me.
That's right, you're away for that last council meeting too, aren't you?
Oh, you're not going to be here that week.
Tuesday, Wednesday, but.
Well, and I'm gone Wednesday and Thursday to Toronto. So how about the first week of February? That be all right, Sean? 3rd, 4th?
Hmm.
I think it would be good for Bernie Councillor Campoff to be here as well.
It works for me.
So do you have dates that work for you? Those dates are okay? How about you, Councillor Campoff? They're okay? You prefer a Monday, Councillor Viss?
Yeah.
Okay, so 9 a.m. on the 3rd? On February the 3rd. 9 a.m. Okay. And that's the enabling bylaw. So the resolution, I don't know who moved and seconded it.
And Calvert and Allen Viss.
Okay, would you agree to the changes to the resolution to February the 3rd, Monday, February 3rd at 9 a.m.? Okay, so the motion's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Carried. And then we have a revision bylaw 852-2015 waste management landfill punch cards. We have a resolution recommending the revision and the necessary bylaw be presented for ratification. Any further discussion on what we've already had? All in favor? Opposed? Carried. And then we have a resolution without a name, a resolution for nominating a voting member to the NOMA board. Now, I would say that we have Councillor Calvert, who is sitting on our Thunder Bay Municipal League. Does that lend itself to NOMA or not? Or someone else? Perhaps Councillor Calvert doesn't want to go to that one. It's up to you.
Oh, I'm okay with it.
You're okay with
But
it?
if
Is
no one else wants to.
anyone else
Anyone
want
else
to have
wanna?
that job?
No. Does anyone?
I don't know. We present someone, but does that mean they actually get on the board or they have an election? Have an election at the NOMA conference, right?
What we're doing here is getting someone to go to the NOMA AGM to represent us and vote at the AGM.
Okay.
No, he's not going to be on the NOMA board.
Yeah.
You will be at the NOMA conference then? Okay. So we have a resolution moved and seconded indicating that Councillor Calvert will be our representative.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
There.
Motion's been moved and seconded. All in favor? Everybody's hand goes up real quick. It's
Opposed,
been
Dan.
moved. It's been passed. Then we have a communication concerning conflict of interest from the mayor, which you received. It was an email I forwarded to the CAO.
Yep, it's on the back.
Okay. And then we have the Thunder Bay and Area Food Strategy Survey. It was given to us separately in our package. We have a committee of reports of committees, the Public Library, the Health Unit, and DSAB. If there's any questions on any of those meetings. And now we have bylaws. The first bylaw is payment and mileage for council and committees. This bylaw has been moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed, carried. Then we have the borrowing bylaw. These are housekeeping bylaws, which we pass every year. It's been moved and seconded, the borrowing bylaw. It's open for discussion. All in favor? Opposed, carried. And then we have the interim tax levy and late payment charges bylaw. It has been moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed, carried. Then we have the lease agreement. It would be, did we amend something on that bylaw? Yes, so that would be amended. The resolution has been moved and seconded. The amended lease agreement bylaw has been moved and seconded. All in favor? Opposed, carried. And then we have the set rules and regulations and rates for landfill site bylaw. It's been moved and seconded.
I have a question, with regard to definitions on page 184. What happened to 1.3.6? It's not there anymore. It goes from 1.3.5 to 1.3.7.
Yes. Numbering will have to be changed or something is missing.
That's not really a big problem. If you skip one.
Numbering, okay.
Okay, and for the schedules, it's just housekeeping things, so don't worry about it. It's okay.
Okay.
They'll be, I'm sure, addressed as time goes on and we work through this process.
Okay, so we have a resolution moved and seconded to approve this bylaw. Any further discussion? Oh, Counselor Viss. Yes, landfill rates.
Okay, then there's one thing on page 206, clarify that when you say. The per hour charge is $200 and the minimum fee is 100. So it's gonna cost $200 to open it, you have to charge it 100. Am I reading this wrong? Video.
206. Right at the bottom.
It's the fourth from the bottom.
Yeah,
Open the landfill.
yeah, to open it is $200, there's only.
Yeah, it's always been 100, so
So it
it
should be
should be 100.
There too?
Yeah, it should be 100 in the front.
100,
Yeah, it's always been 100.
so that should be 100.
Just people who's going to go by law, then it should be right, okay, that's how I have.
So-
Sorry.
Oh, it's just a typo then.
Yeah,
Typo.
should be 100. So that would be, I have as, I will say the bylaw as amended.
Yes.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve the amended bylaw for rules and regulations and rates for the landfill site. Any further discussion? Councillor Peacock?
Thank you. I've asked Wayne about this before as well. It makes reference in this bylaw as well as other information that we have pertaining to the consolidated fee bylaw. But that bylaw has not been kept up to date. So in that bylaw, does it make reference to the landfill bylaw being a different bylaw to consider?
Yeah, I did explain that to you. There is no consolidated fee bylaw, so what it says there doesn't hurt us. There isn't any. It's been a project for decades. It's not been done.
You've just kept each bylaw, or
Yes.
each rate schedule separate from
So
each
that, so
other.
that doesn't harm anything
No.
here.
Okay, so we have a resolution or moved and seconded for an amended bylaw to set rates and regulations and rates for bylaw landfill site. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. And then we have a bylaw to appoint auditors for the corporation of the municipality of Olive Lapunge. That was an addition that we had. Can you read the bylaw for us? Because it's not in our package.
That the following bylaw be introduced, read, dealt with individually, and engrossed, signed by the, I think it's endorsed, eh? Or engrossed? Engrossed? Signed by the mayor and clerk, sealed and numbered. A bylaw to appoint auditors for the corporation of the municipality of Olive Lapunge be approved, and that the mayor and clerk be authorized to affix their signatures to said bylaw number 06-2025.
Okay, and that's for 1 year.
Yes.
Yes, it's a one-year term.
We should put that in here then,
It
eh,
should be 1 year.
or 2025.
Yes. It's been moved and seconded?
Yeah, we had Dan Calvert, Alan Biss,
Okay. Is there any comments or? Okay, all in favor? Opposed? Carried. And then we have communications from the Northern Ontario Women's Caucus, World Animal Protection, the property taxation implications, OPP cost increases, Ontario pre-budget announcement. Oh, provincial projects and excess soil management practices and changes to the Planning Act. Is there any of these petitions or communications? Does anybody from administration want to make comment on any of them? Or does anyone on council wish for us to pass a resolution to approve any of the resolutions that were given to us? Councillor Vips.
Just for clarification on if you're going page 218, and that's from that Pushlin, where the ministry is providing a 6 million subsidy aggregate industry, and that with 3 million, that subsidy being transferred back to municipality, and the rest is that we lose. Does that affect us any at all? There's nothing else to worry about. I just couldn't I figured out where we're going with that. All good?
Yeah, through the chair, that's not based on what we deal with up here.
Thank you.
Have a new tax classification over aggregate, correct?
Correct.
Okay, nothing, no comment on any of them. In regards to changes to the Planning Act, our planning department has already gone through those comments. And then we have petitions and communications for information only. Auto theft and violent carjackings, message from Chief Darcy Fleury, AMO membership and MEPCO support for 2025, AMO endless homelessness report and advocacy, AMO 2025 conference, NOMA conference and sponsorship packages for 2025, Thunder Bay District Municipal League, their minutes, agendas, etc. And now we have the 2024 annual report from the Ministry of Rural Affairs, and we received that this evening. It's on our table for the year 2024. Any new business, Councillor Viss? Since I picked on you. Yes, I said I was picking on you, so now I'll let you talk first.
This here.
Yes.
Is it an advantage for us to spend time and sit there and listen?
There is no, I spoke to a gentleman that's involved with that. I met with him at the Legion. It's just going to be all these big boards all around with people standing there, and you can ask questions about the construction and all that'll happen. There will be no speech. There will be no places where you sit and listen to someone talk. It's from 6 till 9. You walk in, get coffee, walk out.
My question is, could we get a report of what the results of that meeting will be? Could we have that? That's all I care about.
I don't know what the results would be.
I don't know whether they're upset over whatever, if they're happy over where we're going. No?
I will be there,
Okay.
but, because I will make you coffee. But anyway, yes, I think they are the ones who are responsible for it.
Yeah.
And I know when I spoke to him past week, he said Bird Construction will also have some people there, and they will be coming back, I believe, in February to have a meeting about the working 24-hour day shifts.
Yeah, and that was my concern. Remember earlier on, they said about working after hours and drilling and blasting and
Yeah.
doing all that, and I thought, do we need to be listening or not?
Yeah, as the mayor explained, this meeting here is more the old term, but it's not on there, open house.
Open house.
You know, you just go in there and take a look around. There's no formal presentations or so forth. And then that will be followed up later with another meeting where they'll be talking about their work schedule. Yeah, this was just to get,
Yeah, that will be Bird Construction. That won't be OPG.
That's the only thing I wanted to.
I think he said in February they'd be coming back. Okay. But, you know, he did say he'd be very happy if he saw some counselors come and look
Yeah,
at the
of course,
big
yeah.
stuff and ask questions. Okay. Anything else, Alan? Counselor Viss?
That's
No?
it.
Counselor Peacock, any new business?
Yes, please. In the December 10th minutes, it mentioned the rules of conduct at the Norwest. Just wondering, have they been reposted or Are they? No? Will they? Okay. And our buildings are all accessible, compliant, are they? As
Yes.
requirements?
It's
Yeah.
operational.
Yeah.
It's all been done.
As far as service requests, when someone submits a service request online, you get an email back with a number on it. But is there any kind of report or anything? It was my understanding that when we first got into the service request process, that would give the managers of each department an idea as to what road needs to be fixed or an issue that's happened within the municipality that needs to be addressed at budget time. Just wondering, people say, you know, I put the service request in and that's as far as it went. I never hear anything. So are they discussed at a manager's meeting? What's the process with that? Because it's like, there's your number. Thank you very much. And nothing further is, to the best of my knowledge, happens after that.
I believe
Is there a
that-
specific service request that hasn't been dealt with? That I'm not aware of?
I'm just asking how the process works as far as,
So process on the public works side and on community services side, a lot of them are for potholes and that, they get addressed and they get closed off when they're performed by, and we put a notation as to who did it on what day.
Yeah.
I cannot recall a specific one that says phone me back and we're gonna need to talk about this. I
okay.
haven't received those type.
No. I just didn't know if there was possible to send an email, other than just a number that says, this is a number that was issued.
I
Or is it
would
too
believe
much to
that that
ask to
number
follow
that
up?
was issued would be if the resident would, after 3 days or a week, still see that pothole, he could call here and he or she can call here and say, as per request, number, whatever it is,
Mhm.
my pothole is still here a week or 2 weeks later. That's what the number's for.
Yeah, that has happened, not potholes, because we tend to get on
That's
those. In the
right.
spring, we get inundated, but in the summertime, a lot of those issues go away.
Right.
What I do see is, how to say this politely, it's fixed, but not to the level of satisfaction that maybe the person may need,
Okay.
and then you get a call back.
Okay.
We will revisit those things. There's one currently ongoing right now where the resident's right and administration is wrong, so we will continue down that path.
Right.
So it is a system that we still encourage residents to use then.
Through the chair, if you don't use a service request, you don't get on the list of things we fixed.
That's right.
Okay.
Yes.
I just wanted to comment about the service request system. There's those kinds of things where, Public Works go out and fix a pothole and everything, but we also get information type requests. And most of them is somebody left a number behind in a email and we deal with it. I can just think of a recent one where somebody was asking about the Canadian flag is lower than the American flag at Little Norway Park. What are you doing about it? So, what we did is, the deputy clerk wrote the guy back and said, it's in the city. Thanks for your time. And we close off.
Mhm. Yeah, for sure.
Okay. Anything else?
No, that's okay. Thank you.
Okay, Councillor Calvert?
Just, we had our annual Boxing Day, get together at the hall and it was very good and the hall was in great shape. I'd just like to thank the Director of Public Works and all the staff.
And Councillor Campoff, nothing? Yes. Did you have something new?
Yes, I do. What's just learned of today, also with the Director of Operations, about does council think we need some guidance with regard to bookings of the hall on a continuous basis? That's the issue. And I can give you some of what it's about. A group in the city of Thunder Bay began to book Friday evenings at the Roslyn Hall every Friday evening for their events, the pickleball. So that's what they want to do. And they've been talking about it here. There's nothing in administration's toolbox to tell these people you can't do that. And we've never had this happen before. So the thing is, should we be putting some kind of restrictions in place, a policy that says something or other to not have the hall booked in that kind of nature? We used to have, at one time, there was a volleyball group, they come in Tuesday evening, 6 o'clock to 7 o'clock or whatever it was. Well, okay, and they were there for the season, 26 weeks, something like that. But Friday, Saturday, Sunday is the time that people want to have their family events and things like that. And how does that go if someone is booking the place every Saturday to do whatever it is? Maybe that's not fair.
Yes.
As a follow-up, this particular user started off as 2 days in the short term, has now morphed into 3 days, and today asked for the 4th day. So
Every
it's
week?
every week from now to the end of March.
Well, I have a
And
problem.
beyond that.
Yeah, I have a problem with that because number one, they're non-resident. But number two is if you have a resident or a group that wants to book the Roslyn Hall for a certain event and we find out that 4 nights a week it's being booked to someone else.
So through the chair, for cautionary purposes, we also have a church group that is using our facility on Sundays
Mhm,
from now till July.
Yeah.
That's Sunday morning.
right.
So we've gone down this path with other block users at other facilities, not necessarily the halls.
Mhm.
And we try to keep it open, but the Friday complement hurts administratively and operationally, where we are flipping from 10 o'clock at night to something for Saturday morning. We block out the Roslyn Winter Carnivals. It's all hand on deck. We don't put any bookings 2 days thereafter because it takes us that long to put the hall back together. We are, based on talking to operational staff, we are having problems with the tape they're applying on the floor. It's becoming cumbersome to get off. They want to put them permanently on, and the answer is no. But we are having some operational issues. And it's a 5-hour event, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday,
And what is the rate for that?
$26 an hour.
That doesn't hardly cover the caretaker coming back and forth every night.
Through the chair, I know we've talked about usage of halls and policies and rates and stuff like that. This has now, the person using the facility has said, we're here because it's cheap.
Mhm. I think first of all, there should be an extra charge if the tape has not been removed, even a $50.
They're working with us, but it's the long-term effect.
Mhm.
Like, we are not going to let them into Murillo, right? Brand new floor. They're not going there. There's always been the discussion that that's a gym. I understand that, but it can only take so much. And on top of it, 20 hours of that activity a week is 12 hours of caretaker time right off the bat, just to open and close the doors, not cleaning up anything. So it's putting undue stress on the staff, and we don't want to lose that.
Yeah, and I prefer that they don't get a continuous Friday evening because again, that's when local people have their anniversaries on Saturday morning or they want to be there Friday night
So
decorating or birthdays or whatever.
yeah, so Wayne and I talked about this today with our staff, and we're getting into shag season here.
Mhm.
Shag season's coming, anybody's having a summer wedding, and if we've got Fridays booked at Roslyn and we got church booked Sunday morning, we
Nothing
don't
like-
want to, we don't want to go down that road.
No,
Have a shag Saturday night, or we can't have shags Friday because we block booked it.
right.
Needs to be addressed relatively quick here.
Councillor Peacock?
And I think that the comment with regard to it's not a resident, there's nothing to say that it's our residents that are using it, so the person who organizes it could easily have a resident book it on their behalf.
Through the
Just
chair,
like that.
this started from a resident first. It's now been handed off to someone who's not.
Your thoughts, Councillor Campoff?
But I mean, isn't it good that we're getting use of our halls?
Through the chair is spectacular. But you want to be the family that can't have a shag February, March, April at one of our facilities.
So typically in the past, so obviously Murillo is not the issue. So the issue is Roslyn, just to keep it specific here. How many Friday nights in a typical year have we had Roslyn booked?
Through the chair, I could get you that information, but I know it's basically every Friday in March and half of February and right up until Easter. Once Easter hits, we send to see a lull in our Friday weekend rentals at our facilities. The shags are over, summer
Yeah.
weddings are coming. So we tend to see this as our window where we're answering the phone and we're saying, no, we don't have space.
Mhm.
Like, yes, it's nice, but
Yeah.
we're gaining $26 an hour, whereas we won't get the bartender use and the 6 hour full day rentals, kitchen, the whole shebang, the 350 full rate package plus bartenders.
And that's when you see they're having the teas, and the anniversaries are usually on Saturdays, Saturday afternoon, Saturdays. You have to have the hall clean for that too.
It's the timing. So Tuesday, there's 10 a.m., there's chair exercise. We're getting out of there 10 o'clock at night with this group. And then we flip again Tuesday night back to 5 o'clock. We're now putting the things back on the floor. Wednesday, we have something else. We flip back and we're slipping from 10 o'clock at night to potentially 8 in the morning. And to start doing it on a Friday or a Saturday through to a Sunday, it's always been a challenge.
Yeah.
We can't turn those buildings over that quick. It's a challenge, but we need to address the block booking component is a big thing of this. When they're not gonna go away if we don't do anything.
No.
And I don't think we want to go there.
Councillor Viss?
Well, if my math is correct, you're telling me we collect $26 an hour for the rental and the caretaker charges us $23 per hour. Wait a minute, that doesn't work very well in my books.
Through the chair, the caretaker does not get paid $23 an
But
hour.
she's scheduled, if you look on the salary schedule.
She's monthly lump sum.
We argued that point before, and I said that before. If it's a semi-annual, why are we worried about how many hours she's working?
Because we're gonna lose the staff member because she's
Okay,
working 60
that's a different
hours.
story. But you see, I tried to get to that point before when it was brought up that she pays so much. Well, I said she gets paid semi-annual or semi-monthly. So how many hours does that matter? And then, because I said sooner or later that can't continue because you're going to quit. Who's going to work if you want to work that many hours? You're only going to get so many dollars. You're down to $10 an hour. It doesn't work.
Through the chair, respectively, we're under that right now.
Well, and that's my point. So then you see it's not correct. So then we're not doing something right. So then there's no sense renting the thing out for $26 an hour.
The thing is, we've never had somebody come and take 20 hours
I
a week
understand that.
for 4 months. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah, we're going to have to change the agreement with the caretaker. And I don't agree with the Friday nights. I think that especially when they're pre-booked for 3 months, your local residents are stuck, can't do their thing. Yes.
Could we encourage people to have the shags and weddings and things like that only at the Murillo Hall?
Through the chair, it's been the focus of administration to bring Murillo Hall up to a standard. We've heard reviews in the last 2 months that the standard is acceptable. The last thing I would like to do is put 600 people in beer on that floor.
Yes, won't be new anymore. Yes.
So typically when people are booking, how far in advance do they book a hall for an event?
So through the chair, we deal with 72-hour turnaround on a celebration of life. We tend to deal with a 6 to 8 week window on a birthday party. We tend to deal with a 3-month window on a shag, just to put it in perspective. The church started, it's a community from outside of Oliver Mapoonge with a strong membership here. So that started on a Sunday morning. We didn't think much about it. Traditionally, Sunday mornings weren't a rental area that we focused on. But the Friday, Saturdays are now going to be impacted where it's, I look at the demographics of Oliver Mapoonge and there's probably 30 shags coming up in the next 3 years. We need to kind of get this addressed. The Tuesday, Wednesday or Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Again, Monday night, we don't have it. We used to have the volleyball. It was an hour. It wasn't a big deal. The caretaker would go wash the dishes and sweep up stairs while they were playing volleyball, turn the lights off, go home. This is a different animal. 5 o'clock, open the door, 10 o'clock, close the door, and then turn on flip from a gym activity to potentially tables and chairs, and then do it again the next day and do it again the next day. That's the issue here.
So just a couple suggestions maybe popped in my head. Could we ask this new group maybe, or tell them no Fridays unless there's openings? And, you know, give them a 6 weeks or a month or something warning. Is that a possibility?
So through the chair, we've unofficially said we would discuss till the end of March on Fridays with them. Unfortunately, there is more users of this group than there is court space available. For those that follow the Thunder Bay News, it's always been a challenge. There is an app, and they have 200 people on the waiting list for every day that there's something scheduled. There's over 450 people on this app.
They should forget about that soccer building and put in.
We didn't see it in the summertime. Again, it was related to where they were currently hosting. They had an issue with their facility. They've reached out. That's what started the 2 days a week to fill the void on the court space. And now it's morphed into more here than in
'Cause
the
it's
previous
cheaper.
facility. That was been voiced to us,
Yes.
and we're still doing the legwork on that. The biggest thing, as I said, is it's the use of the facility is becoming greatly restricted when we can't offer those things to residents.
So I would assume then you have a set amount of hours that you would like to allocate them, and that'd be kind of the upper tier?
Yeah, so it's very preliminary. Wayne and I had a discussion with our operational staff today in regards to this. The Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, we don't really have a problem with. It's once we get beyond that's our core business for 3 or 5 months of the year. That's our core business. That's why we have kitchens
Mhm.
to do these facilities, right? You know, the gentleman saw, well, why can't I have that Friday? Well, I'm sorry, that's the Rosin Winter Carnival. You're not getting it. Like, figure it out. So, we just need to just kind of hash some things out here so it gets parity back into the community, so to speak, for availability.
Right. So again, I don't really have a problem with Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. It's probably not booked too often, one of those nights, unless it's a celebration of life, and even those are on weekends.
Yeah, so through the celebration of life traditionally is 12:30 till 2:30.
Yeah.
Then clean the floor, tear everything down, and if we get another one the next day, let's put everything back up. It
That's right.
becomes cumbersome because we're at the facility at 10:30 dealing with the food coming in for the celebration of life, and we're back there 10 o'clock at night, locking the door and cleaning up.
Yeah.
It's becoming cumbersome. And again, never been presented before where we book 20 hours a week to one group.
No. Yes. Right?
Yeah, just curious, is there a other than this tape on the floor, is there any cleanup or anything with these groups?
Through the chair, the front lobby, when we come in the front door, the rug, that's gonna be inundated with, we saw salt sand last week,
Yeah.
and
it's
those
normal.
rugs are now, now the caretaker's coming at me. We've never done the rugs. Now they're becoming an issue. We gotta do the rugs.
Yeah,
So I have to buy another set of rugs to be able to send those ones away to be cleaned.
no, I'm getting at it, just to make it simpler for the caretaker. Does the caretaker need to be there
Yes.
for closing and opening? Yeah,
Yes.
there's no way around that.
No.
Can't-
That's the way the agreement, and we talk about indemnity and insurance and stuff like that. We have to try and capture any damage the day of.
Yeah,
And there has to be that snapshot, right? And we have to capture damage. We have to capture some stuff missing from the kitchen, if so be it, or the kitchen was used when it wasn't supposed to be. There's that protection mechanism that the employee locks the door and make sure everybody's out.
Mhm. Wayne, did you have your?
So, you're mentioning that, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, if they're doing this, this group is there for 4 hours in the evening, well, you can kind of live with it indefinitely or just live with it now, and then the other part to what I want to talk about is, would you like to get council, although we don't have a policy right now, council can simply say this evening in a resolution, we're not going to book this place out, block persons Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Thursday, evenings, that's it.
Yeah, I would,
And we'll go from there.
Yeah, I would like to see no more than 2 dates a week from an operational side,
2 nights.
2 nights max to one book, to one group.
One-
If it's going to extend for more than a period of 3 months.
Mhm.
To me, that is a quarter to a fifth of the available space we have that we won't be able to access.
So you are.
Right now,
you
right now,
want to Start now with
No.
it or until the end of March?
right now, we are committed to the end of March,
Mhm.
Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and they've asked for Friday.
I would say no to the Friday.
We're,
This is just
we're
me
leaning,
speaking.
we were leaning towards no and to develop this policy.
Okay,
And
and then
it's,
we'll work on a policy that starts in April.
I would say that would be appropriate.
So, when this fellow phones about, how about Friday, we'll just tell him, no, we're working on a policy.
That's
And
correct.
council's on board with that
Mhm.
answer.
Yes.
Can that group have short-term Fridays if they called tomorrow and asked about Friday since it's not booked?
But again, you're right in that sense, but again, we're also looking at someone who's working for X number of dollars every 2 weeks, and all of a sudden they're looking down and they're going, oh my goodness, I think I get $7.50 an hour here. And they're gonna be gone, and not only that, that's against the minimum wage that the government has put out there, so we have to watch what we're doing, be reassessing wages. Yes.
So I mean, we have the halls. This isn't a bad problem to have. That people want to use them. I mean, we obviously need to reassess that agreement with our caretaker and fix it. And maybe change the rates. Yeah, like how many people are there at a pickleball?
My understanding, it's teams of 4, 2 on each side, and they're running 4 courts across the gym. And it's 1 hour, 1 hour, 1 hour. So they're cycling 16 to 20 people an hour through there.
Okay, so I mean, so if we raise rates a little bit, I mean, like
It's
we need to be more competitive, obviously, with
Yes.
whatever the competition is, but I mean, there should be a way that we can make this work and
Yeah.
actually utilize our halls. I
Through
guess
the
that's good.
chair, if this was an idea that I knew about, I would have advertised for additional people.
Yeah.
Right, it's the same with the rink. We gear up with staff when those busy weekends happen. This is an anomaly, okay? And what really brought it to light is that it's continuous booking for, if they had their way, forever. And it's not the best use of facility for the residents.
No.
Is the room at the Norwest? Is there a room at the Norwest that they could play at?
Oh, no, there's no room there.
Okay, I didn't know what happened to the equipment room or the party room or whatever
The
they called
equipment
it.
room is full of equipment. That's right. Everything
You're
is
full of
full.
that.
It's all full. There's, not unless you're starting to do it on the rink, and even then we can't, it's booked. So,
So traditionally, they need a place in the winter. That's no different than soccer. They need a place in the winter. Summertime, they go out to the outdoor tennis courts and away they go. I know that they run a program at Roslyn. I get that. I understand that. Put your tape on, knock yourself out.
Yeah.
Can't use a multi-purpose facility, repetitively turning it over with how we have it set up currently. Whether it's the wage model or whether it's the people model or whether it's the policy, something needs to get changed.
so in other words, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, from now till the end of March. That's right. So, no, yes,
Thursday?
and then we'll look forward to that.
Thursday? What, that's.
And it's against a pickleball religion or something.
So, and then we will look at a policy, administration will bring to council a policy, which will, I don't know if it's a policy, but we'll have to review the wage, we'll have to look at the hours, we'll have to. look at-
Perhaps we can enter into a long-term agreement with them that allows us to recover some of the costs associated with them using the facility on
We'll
that
have
type.
2.5 months to come up with something. Chris? Yeah, okay.
Just a question, you had mentioned that they would use the pickleball facilities that are outside at the Roslyn Community Center?
I think they're in town.
We've been using pickleball at the outdoor at Roslyn. It's been a user group for probably 5 or 6 years since pickleball reached national significance. They use the tennis facilities in the city of Thunder Bay quite a bit. That's the problem. They have 7 or 8 locations they can do in the summertime. They can funnel all these people. So when the snow hits, they try to go inside and they set up at the previous location, which is a huge hall, and they had full blown access to it.
Mhm.
Then they had issues at that facility. We came here, we tried to help them out, and it's morphed into, hey, it makes sense to go to Roslyn.
Yeah.
So what happens, how do we control who uses our outside facilities now that we have that insurance requirement as far as them using the pickleball courts or tennis courts, the ball diamonds, how do you keep track of who's
the-
using what?
Through the
And-
chair, if it's an organized league, they are expected to have insurance and have a contract with us.
Mhm.
So do we put that out do we know who these users are? Or they just kind of show up on a Sunday afternoon and play ball and you don't know that
That
they're
show up
there?
on a Sunday afternoon to play pickleball at Roslyn Community Center are not an organized event as far as I'm concerned. If someone's advertising, we're having playoffs this weekend at this facility and bring your camper, we know what's going on and we have to fix it.
Wait,
That idea that John came up with, though, it does have some merit, worth looking into. Having an agreement, because we do that with other groups. If you want to get to the Northwest Recreation Center and you want the ice this time every week during the season, okay, we come up with an agreement and here's the deal, et cetera. Hey, that's what we need to do with these fellows. And then you can control the conditions and make sure you're getting paid properly.
yeah, and that's what administration has now been directed to do by this council. I think. Councillor Viss?
I agree, we take a look at an agreement, but again, Dawn had a very good point. On say Wednesday evening, somebody said, is Friday available? If there's nobody booked, why wouldn't we not rent it out on Friday? Just on, just on if it's available. If not by Wednesday, we should know if it's booked Friday or Saturday. And if you book Saturday, you say no, because we need to have clean up or something. But I mean, if the thing's sitting empty, don't think about.
Just to be cautious that we aren't going to be losing because it's of the cost. But
You have to be mindful of the caretaker's personal schedule as well.
that's what I mean.
You know.
They have no life.
We're going in a lot of directions, but if we're gonna have that kind of a system where there are gonna be these heavy events whenever, then you go from the bi-weekly fixed pay to hourly all the time and
Yeah.
and it costs you more. Yeah.
It's gonna cost prohibitive. Yeah.
On an hourly basis for 30 hours a week and you can have it every night, 6 days a week, I think they're coming.
Mhm.
That's what I think is gonna happen.
All kinds of.
Yep.
Rate up high enough,
all right.
it won't show up.
Okay,
No, but I think that any one user can't hog the place. And we got that at the Northwest Recreation Center, and you can't have every night, all the time prime. And be the same thing with these persons. I think I heard something about 2 nights. That's it. Any user, 2 nights, that's all you're gonna get.
and that's something that because we're committed to 3, we leave it at the 3 until the end of March. And by that time, you'll have ironed out some kind of agreement or policy or whatever to bring to us or,
We're not the first place to rent facilities to user groups. Somehow in the world that this problem's already been solved. We just
Yeah.
need to.
figure it out.
We sold it for the recreation center,
Mhm.
our ice rental.
Yeah, ice rental, so much an hour. That's what we'll have to start doing.
Yeah.
5 staff.
5 people, yes.
Staff plus 4 concessions,
Mm-hmm.
74 hours a week open. 44 hours a week charging and flipping in between, 44 hours of rental, that means the one person's working 65 hours.
That's right.
Hmm.
In a week.
Then that's part of the agreement that they perhaps, we have a separate staffing set up for the pickleballing or something like that.
And they're gonna have to pay for it.
And they pay for it.
You have to have 2 staff there.
$50 an hour for 5 hours a night, from 5 to 10, that's $250 a night, just, bath and back my head.
Okay, you guys can argue about it because we don't do that operational stuff.
Yeah.
That's not our job. We just do policy.
I think it's a matter of like staffing too, like Chris,
Yeah.
the director was saying, so it's
Gonna have
gonna have to work with it.
Again, these can be outside of the caretaking regular hours. If we've got a long-term commitment, you know, like I said, 5 hours, that's perhaps we can move some of the staff that we've hired for Northwest who don't work every night. They can pick up 5 hours a night, or we can hire this counselor.
It depends on what our union
Depends on
agreements say.
What we determine, but
Yeah.
it's not.
At the end of the day, does the council want the community center rented for 44 hours a week?
Yeah.
Absolutely. I get it. As a gym, I get it. Therefore, if we enter a long range plan, kitchen out,
Just make it a,
asset management. Let's take it twofold here, guys. Let's run the whole gamut.
yeah, and,
Right?
and anything to involve
We
the
can make
kitchen,
anything
go to
work.
Morello.
We can make anything work, okay?
That this is new, so. It's
Yeah.
brand new, but I mean, if obviously, we've kept, to my understanding, we've kept rates. Maybe it's not the right word, but unrealistically low, because it was for community groups and for families and all that stuff, and we maybe, if there's an opportunity like this, we need to amend it to make it. But absolutely, what's the purpose of facility of not to have it used?
And we just hire another person
So, no, it's good.
or two, whatever's required, as long as the fees we're charging is covering the cost of everything, the hydro, the employees, the whole bit, cleaning.
Let's not wrecking the building, I guess. So, I mean, and it's possible, I guess, if they were in there as an organized thing, that we were gonna be there so many nights a week, and then maybe we could have the discussion about permanently.
Discussions happen.
Yeah.
Always product that can spray down and sit for 2 months.
Yeah.
We can put lines on there tomorrow.
Yeah, we solved that.
Mhm.
yeah.
Okay.
We'll bring a report.
Okay. Just before we, yeah, how far did we go? Oh, no, we're not going notice. I was just gonna say, I'm waiting to see I'm at new business, so I was going to ask, Sean has been sitting here all night and hasn't said anything quietly, because he's probably still on vacation.
No, no, that ended at 7 o'clock on Monday morning when I came back. Just quickly, just an update, that fire grant that was put out. We were successful in getting some money. We got $49,382.70.
Wonderful.
So I'm working with Chris and John and Wayne to get that money spent. Tight timeline to commit money. I think it's gotta be out the door by December 31st, so that's okay, but the money has to be committed by March 31st, so.
Okay.
The one item that we're pushing to get done is the washroom. And these, all the items that were in the budget with that clause, they're all qualified for this. But the washroom is something I think we need to move forward on, and that's gonna take us the time to.
Washroom in which,
Kekabeka. It'll be a shower, washroom facility and it's cancer prevention is the basis of this, so.
okay. And that's it. Okay, we'll see you at the special meeting in February. Well, we'll see you before that, because
Yeah,
we have
see
a
you
council
before.
meeting in the end of January. Okay, so now we have a resolution moved and seconded to confirm the meeting that we've had this evening. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. And then we have a resolution that's been moved and seconded to adjourn the meeting, the time being 7:08 PM. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Thank you very much.